Hello, what's going on? I'm just testing this little layout right here that I got going on because, as you can see, it's just a different type of view. So, hello. Let's see. I think also, pardon the fan. That's not. Anyway, all right. So, perfectly imperfect. What's going on, guys? Guys, there's clearly nobody on the live, and yet I'm being watched. So, gang stalked and all that other stuff. That's just horrible. Um. Okay, so I don't know what I wanted to get into in tonight's video, but I do know I wanted to touch on a few things. By the way, I'm enjoying some dust like thinly dipped dark chocolate almonds dusted with cocoa. So I love it. There we go. Very nice. It's not too chocolatey, but it gives you the right amount of like kick to it. I love it. I seriously love it. Happy. Um. Yes. So in the future, I would like to do occasional videos when it comes to like my privacy and stuff like that. But I am being more reserved. I might actually just pick up on video content because I don't need to talk to people. Um, I don't need to talk to people who are like gang stalkers and all the other kind of jazz. Like people who are just like roaming around the streets trying to approach me, and it's just literally to just kind of like unprovoked. Unprovoked is nonsense, and I'm just like it's just so stupid, and unnecessary. Just because you see political leaders, green light this illegal activity because you obviously can't tell me what it is going on to my face, and you have to triangulate information to me. Obviously, it's not on the up and up. So to come to my face, and just like shoot the breeze and think that that shit is copacetic, it's not gonna fly. So I put it on Twitter. I was just like, yo, from now on, I have to talk to you. If you're gonna approach me, because a lot of days when people approach me, it's normally somebody who has been assigned to talk to me, and I'm just like, yo, get the fuck out of my face. I don't like that. I really don't like that. I feel it's like being used. It's like being used, and like first off, human trafficking is what it is. Okay, you're working for free and you're being harmed and abused and all that other kind of shit. So when you have a stranger approach you just to fucking fuck with you, it's just, that's like a patron of a pimp who is forcing you to have sex with somebody like that. I'm not I'm not I'm not belittling, or I'm not comparing it to a moment where it's like the same situation in which a woman who's being sexually assaulted, like sexual human trafficking. I'm not comparing it to that, but I am giving you an example because that situation is far worse. However, I have been in situations where I have been, sexually assaulted. I'm just saying that for strangers to literally have the audacity to approach me and want to just try to like look at me, try to approach me, strike up a conversation for the shits because it's broadcasted without my consent. You know, you might as well be one of those people that are, yeah. I mean, you're participating in the same kind of activity. You're that kind of person who will fuck somebody who's being human trafficked. And actually, yes, it's the same type of fucking energy. It really is the same energy. Not the same action, but it's the same energy. You have the same intent because given given the opportunity to, you would go through with it. And that's really fucking disgusting. And I can't stand that shit. So that's what I'm saying. Anybody who is approaches me, like I have approached you, and it really is just literally about businesses. It's like, look, ask me, cash, check, credit. And I'm like, credit or something like that. Because there are people who literally have been using me, getting offended, getting offended. Like, oh, for some reason, you using me, you trying to disrespect my boundaries offends you. It makes sense. Like, it makes sense if you're an abuser, because honestly, when it's an abuser, there are no rules except for them, to their own standards. They don't like if you do the same thing to them, they're like, hold up, wait. They're competent enough. Like, they know exactly what they're doing and they know that it's wrong. But when they're doing it to other people, all of a sudden it's just like, oh no, 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 no. This is this is okay for us to do it to other people, but don't do it to me. Like, no, 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 no. In fact, I spent my years overthinking and doing good to others to the point where it would literally disable me. It would hinder me literally. Like, I would take day. I've took months, super long months, when it comes to being accountable for just the little tiniest shit. Oh, was that too? Oh, was I like not nice enough to this person? Like I said, I made peace with the fact that I've done people pleasing. I grew up and I was conditioned to, service and be of service to, my brothers and sisters, to my siblings, excuse me, mostly to my brothers, brothers and sisters, like god sister, I included, but it was just like, take care of this person, your mom's not around, she's doing whatever, and it's like, oh, take care of this person, take care of your grandmother, a grown woman. You're in elementary school and you're taking care of a grown woman who's sick. Like, it's those kind of things. So yeah. I also wanted to come up on here because you see all this shit. Thankfully, I would say that is like that. That's something that I'm grateful for, is that a lot of people have seen the shit that's going on, and regardless of whatever lies that anybody has made, it's like, this isn't right. Like, at a certain point in time, you have to realize, like, these activities aren't right. There is a woman, a stranger, somebody who pretended to be a best friend. She is sitting up in a corner watching me from a place that's unauthorized or without my consent. But because it served other people's pockets and greed and sexual perversions, the government and whatnot gave it the green light. So this woman thinks that, oh, nobody can touch her. She is, protected, da 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 da. Da. And so all that ego went to her head, and she decided with my ex and my family, my relatives, who took also advantage of it, because basically this whole thing was the foundation of them getting money off of exploiting me. And from that, there have been movies, TV shows, books, and all the other kind of shit that has like spawned from it. And they've gotten the money. I have not gotten one red cent of anything. In fact, I have been like, demoted when it comes to like YouTube and stuff like that. Like, it was all a bunch of behind the scenes things. And come to find out, like, this girl was literally pretending to be, somebody she wasn't. Like, I met this chick in the hood. She would sleep on this ratty mattress and everything like that, and has the audacity to look down on me. And I'm like, yo, like, I was living in a much better neighborhood, much better conditions, gotta go on vacations and stuff like that with my uncles and my families and all the other kind of stuff, because, he worked on Wall Street, had multiple houses, own a whole bunch of stuff. So like, like, I'm not new to the the life of, of opportunity and stuff like that stuff never impressed me. So when I was working for certain places, when I was working on Pine Street off of Wall Street, for employers, for the vice president of the legal counsel, um, all that kind of stuff. Like I wasn't impressed. Like I was just like, yo, this isn't new to me. This isn't new to me. This is what I was dealing with like when I was growing up. Like I went to a camp that literally had like equestrian training, like for horses. So my point is though, it's just she approached me as a friend. She approached me and she was always, talking and chatting, and I was just like, oh, this is different. Like, so I'm more of the quiet but kind of bubbly one. Like I'll talk when necessary, but I'm not the kind of person that's just like, oh, like look at me, look at me. Um, but people kind of flock to me. So she approached me. And when that happened, I was just like, oh, okay, yeah, sure. Like, yo, like, hey, what's up? I was always the humble one. This is the thing that really bothered me for a while because it was just like, yo, not only was this unprovoked, but I didn't give you any trouble when it came to the friendship. You feel me? Like you set me up. Like after I had to like go back in time to just like refigure all this shit out. This chick, well, that I know, she probably hated me way before though, but this chick hated me since middle school. But all the time she's been smiling in my fucking face. So she's been like making up these little lies and whatnot about me. And all the whole fucking time over here thinking like, that's my best friend because she's calling me best friend and she's calling me sister and all the other kind of stuff. And she's calling my family and all that other jazz. So it's really fucking like creepy as shit that this person was two-faced and duplicitous and a huge ass copycat. All the times that she was like copying me, it was just like, oh, first I was like a little creeped out. And I was just like, oh no, like because it became like super serious. And I was just like, oh, like, can you just stop? And she was like, oh, like we're twins, like we're sisters. And she would guilt me, which is evident because apparently she emotionally guilt trips people behind the scenes too. So it's a lot of emotional like manipulation. I have like done the things where I have unfriended the girl like a few times before like finally doing it was like two other times before I finally was just like, yo, I don't ever want to see you. I don't ever talk to you. Like we're not best friends. We're not even friends. I don't want anything to fucking do with you. This is why I was literally saying that, I'm pressing like what was it, the criminal charges? Like yo, I don't want anything to do with you. Go away. Like, yo, you should respect those boundaries. But as I'm leading up to this, like, here it goes. All right, so she approaches me in elementary school, and I'm like, okay, yeah, like, we're cool or whatever, like that. And I'm like, yo, this is like my first time having, like a best friend. So I'm like, all right. And at that time, like, I was like a way super overachiever perfectionist, and that's because I was conditioned to. My mom was like super high up on that shit. But anyway, so I was like, yo, no, like that, I'll be the best friend ever. So I was just doing, like gifts and all the other kind of stuff, inviting her over. Miss Rosina, not Miss Rosina, Miss Akanzio, she was gonna give me a skip it. And I was just like, oh, that's really nice. But I'm like, can too? Like, because I felt weird because a lot of times it was just like, oh, like she was like, oh, that's nice. That's nice. Cause like she had ready clothes and all the other kind of stuff. And I wouldn't have put this shit out there, but the way, like the conditions and shit that I've been treated, bitch, bitch, there's no way I'm gonna allow you to save face, have grace. After the years, over a decade that I have figured this shit out, you've been doing this to me over a fucking decade with the voyeurism, and you disliked me for decades. That is not only commitment, but that's just really fucking sick and twisted. But anyway, I continue. So that was up until elementary school. Boom. And and I also invited her to my ballet class, and people were bullying her. People were like, snickering about her or saying things behind her back. And I was the kind of person who was just like, no, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't talk about her. Don't talk about her because if you're talking about her, then you're talking about me. And I don't take that. I don't take that nicely like that. I don't think that's cool. You don't do that. So yeah, that's just how it was. So moving on, to my knowledge, like that's just That was my role. In middle school, I think it was around like 7th, maybe 8th grade or something like that. But yeah, like yo, I had wrote my first book. It was so cute. It was like a school thing, but it was like, yeah, I wrote my first book. I took my little picture and stuff like that, and I dedicated to that stupid bitch. I was like, I dedicated it to her because I was like, yo, like, oh wow, like we're like okay, like she called me sister, and she was like really trying to like maintain the role of like a best friend. But as I'm looking back on it, I've gotten nothing from this bitch. Nothing. I've been breadcrumb. Like, yo, it really took me back. I'm like, yo, all this fucking time, I really had to make peace with that shit. I'm like, yo, this is why it's easy. Okay, but this is why it was easy for me to like let go. When I let go, I let the fuck go. So it was just like, yo, like there's no need for me to reach out, contact you, or have anything to do because you brought nothing to this fucking table. You were always a fucking minus. You did nothing but critically nag, emotional, and manipulator, and just be a deficit to my life. Even now, like, yo, how is it that I had to let you go and you're still being a fucking anchor, a fucking dead weight? You feel me? Like that is just fucking pathetic. And while you're over here criticizing and micromanaging me from behind the scenes, that shit looks lazy and just stupid and chaotic as fuck. Like you look like a troubled human being because nobody wants to be with you. At least I don't. The people who are still kissing your ass, you should be worrying about them and not the people who don't care about you, who don't want you in their life. Okay? Like, yo, that's just so fucking sick and twisted. So in middle school, yeah, like yo, I was like definitely played the role of the best friend. And, I had siblings, so I was just like, yo, like this is just easy work. Like basically, I have sisters and I have brothers, so it was just like, oh, okay, we'll just add one to the team. You feel me? And I treated like my cousin, like siblings too. So it was just like, just add one to the team and just, invite her over to like little outings and this, that, here, and a third. She didn't know about like my abusive childhood back then because that wasn't something that I wanted to disclose. I was just, the straight A student, the one that had the good grades, the talented one, da 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 da. But it was just like, yeah, I mean, how would you want to confide in somebody when like you don't even know like what the fuck is going on? Like this shit was just crazy. But she got a glimpse of that when my mom had scolded me because I had got a C. I got a C in one class, and I had got A's and B's, and she was just like, yeah, that's how crazy my mom was. Anyway, I literally had to go to summer school. Went to summer school to get she's like just to go to summer school, and like the next as soon as I went back to school, I got like a B. Bless you. So like whew, let's see what else. So yeah, I got her like gifts and stuff like that. It was her, Antoinette, and Michelle, but it was mostly like sorry, hold on, I got some. It was mostly her and her and Antoinette, because her and Antoinette had a crush on my older brother, um, who's like who's Puerto Rican. I was just like, yo, bet, like, yo, that, like, yo, you like that, like, okay. I'm like, you're too young, cause like he's older. She ain't mine, and I was just like, oh goodness. It was almost something like out of a TV show, where where you see your friends kind of oogling and ogling over your older sibling. You're just like, I don't get it. So, but that's neither here nor there. Yeah. So I'm over here thinking, oh, whatever, like friendship's cool. Whenever she would come from her house, which was like pretty far up in the hood, because where she originally lived was like down the street and around the block. It was still like a horrible like living arrangement. Like I'm telling you, when I say roaches, I mean seriously. I mean roaches. Okay, it was like serious roaches. So it was heavily invested. It was heavily invested. And one day maybe she will admit to the living conditions, but she was I mean she like she was like she grew up in a white picket fence house, and I literally put it down on whitepages.com. Like I literally put it down on whitepages.com, the link where it tells you exactly where the fuck that she was living at, because she was not living there. Regardless of where she's at now, which is basically about That's the thing about life. Like, yo, you can start somewhere and you can end up in a better place. So that's why I was just like, yo, like it doesn't matter on where you coming from or who you are or how you dress. But today, today, I'm calling you out because how are you going to try to look down on me for acquiring a house that I got at 21 because it was actually this house was going in for foreclosure and I fixed it up really fucking well. But it was just like, how are you going to try to look down on me? And also try to keep me down, but you come from the slums. And for a fucking long time, you were actually very, very slummy, very dirty. So who the fuck are you? And then on top of that, your come up is based off the efforts of my back, off my back. So 25% of it was on your back because you slept with my ex who was my then boyfriend, had a baby, trapped him, tried to make it seem like, okay, well now that I have a baby, now you gotta leave Shalice in order to be with me. And he was just like, no, no. You gave the baby up to Marlon Webb and to his white wife. Um and then they raised her. So still raising her. And now, or well, to my knowledge, she's still raising her. She may still be there with you guys. I don't know. Living with you and David now. But it's just like you guys, your intention was to, it's so funny. No, it's not funny. Like this shit is just wild. Mm. Okay, I just don't wanna I'm just like bouncing, and that's normally what I do. So in middle school, I'm giving her gifts and stuff like that because like she was just seen in like an unflattering light. But because she was hanging out with me, it was like made it more flattering because of like, how much, I went above and beyond for, my friends. And that's normally the kind of person who I am. And so I was just like, okay, yeah, bet. What was it? Oh yeah, I got her like a little Pikachu toy and stuff like that. Like Mylar balloons and things like that. It's just, it's not to be like, oh, it's not to be like in a love bombing thing. It's more of a situation where it's just like, I didn't like, I didn't like the way how people were treating her. When I thought that she was a good person, I didn't like the way how people were treating her. So I was just like, okay, look, let me do this because instead of me just telling people like, well, I did that too. It was just like, look, like she's actually a good person. It's just funny. Um, I was just like, do it and show it. And I'm like, yo, and eventually she started becoming like really complainy and all the other kind of stuff. And I was just like, yo, like this is actually what you said you wanted. And she's like, yeah, but I don't want it anymore. I'm just like, okay, well, you know what? That's fine. I could do something else. This is so weird, yo. I'm telling you, like when you're living in a very conditioned, abusive home, you don't really see when you're being abused or manipulated or just have a shitty environment or like a shitty companion. You're thinking about the like if you're in a jungle, you're worried about the tiger, which is your mom, like the tiger mom. You're not worried about the fucking python that's actually slithering right next to you in your ear. Hell if I knew. Like, yo. Um, so yeah, one day I had left class early and I happened to overhear from one of the classmates that, I was being talked about. I was being trashed and everybody was like, oh no, that doesn't sound like Shalice. And then people were just like, wow, like it was something. It was something like I'm like a really good student, definitely to myself and this, that, here, and the third. But supposedly like there was a rumor going around in school and it was Danielle. And she was just like, no, 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 no. Like, oh, I didn't hear anything. Like, yo, how and I'm just like, yo, like I wouldn't think after all these fucking years, you wouldn't think that the person closest to you would do that, especially since you're thinking of like if somebody doesn't like you, you normally can tell when somebody doesn't like you. I don't know about the smiling in my face and doing shit behind my back. I'm in middle school. Who the fuck would know this shit? But I was being more kind of like doing I started to do more of my own thing. That because I also did more recreational activities. But at the end of it all, because that was a moment for me. At the end of it all, like I ended up, what did I end up doing? I got like first place district science fair award and voted most likely to succeed. So it was just like, and I got like a whole bunch of accolades and stuff like that at school. So I mean that like that was what's up. So yeah, and I got like a really nice piece of play. But it was just like a piece to play, like with my instrument. So it was just like, but yeah, like basically at the end of the day, it was what I brought to the table and people were like really cheering for me when I got like these awards at school. So I was like, yo, like bet that's what's up. So I didn't think anything of it and I just kind of moved on with my life. In high school we were still friends and pardon me, we were still friends and what were we doing? It was just not much, but she was like, we were in like different type of what was it like programs? They had different type of programs. One was business computer design. I was in business computer design. First, I was in like arts and something. No, I was in business computer design, and I wanted to be in creative arts. So, and then I was in nursing. So, yeah, like we went basically our own separate way when it came to like studies and whatnot like that. But we were always staying in touch and being friends and stuff like that. We always still had the title. There was a lot of mind games, manipulations. Supposedly there was a guy that she had liked. The guy I didn't know that she had liked me. And when I had told her about it, she was just like, "Oh, well, I like him." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." And I'm thinking, girls before bros. And it turns out that he and her were just friends, and he already had a girlfriend. So I was just like, "Wait, hold on. So you're over here trying to you're just a cheater." I'm just like, no, yeah, no, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. She ended up like lying to me. She was just like, oh yeah, well, I like him and stuff like that. And I'm just like, oh, okay, all right. So I just didn't end up to be his friend. And turns out when we had a conversation, he revealed to me that he was a friend with her, like he wasn't into her. So that made it awkward, especially when I talked to him, and I remember I talked to him specifically in the hallway, and then this girl approached, and I was like, "Oh, hey, what's going on?" She's like, "Hi." I was like, "Oh, are you his girlfriend?" And she's like, "Yeah." I was like, "Interesting." I was like, "Ooh, player, not me." So, it was that, and what else did we have? A situation of a virginity pact that she blew and she lied about. Oh, yo, this is ridiculous. So we had a virginity pact, and this little whore, she excuse me. All right, look, some people give it up during high school. So look, whatever you float your boat, go ahead. But it was just like, why lie about it? You feel me? Why lie about it? If you're giving it up to Chew, and whomever in the locker room and doing this, that, here, and the third, then that's all on you. But supposedly she's just like, oh, it's only counted as virginity if he pops the cherry. And I'm just like, ah, okay, well, stipulations. I mean, hey, whatever. Again, whatever floats your boat. But it was just like, no, I kind of don't believe you. Or were you like a born again virgin or something like that? Like this is ridiculous. Um, that's just wow. What is it? La 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 la. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Just thinking about all this bullshit that I was unnecessary. So yeah, continuing, she was definitely like before she became a nurse, she was still on hard times. She was still on hard times. I was making more money than her, and I had a car first, and then she got a car that looked similar to mine. It was gold. Which is crazy and insane. But as I'm thinking back about it, it's supposed to be like, oh, twinsies. Uh, she did that, and then on top of that, she she was just man, this is really fucked up because I kept inviting her over to see my family, to hang out with my family and stuff like that. So she grew a bond and started connecting, contacting them behind my back. And I'm just like, yo, like honestly, I didn't see a problem with that because I'm just like, well, you had a thing for my brother, and I always thought that maybe you guys might like hook up and maybe do a life of family together. I actually did this little cute little thing where I had them come with me, meet me at a location in front of her place that she was living with because she was living in a basement one time for a while. when she returned from when she graduated from school. She was living in the basement of her aunt's place, and my brother was coincidentally, like, well, conveniently living across the street. So I was just like, oh, well, isn't this interesting? So I had organized a moment where I was like, oh, like, let's go to the movies, da 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 da. And she was like, oh, yeah, down. I was like, yo, I'll pay for it. Because, at that time, I was the one that was paying for things. So I had my brother, I was like, yo, like, you want to go to movies? He was like, yeah, bet. Interesting. So they were there. And I was like, oh, wait, I forgot my pocketbook. And then he was just like, oh, I'll wait. And I was just like, that's okay. Why don't you guys go ahead of me, and, like, I'll meet you there, because I know my brother got it. Like, he would definitely pay. They'll just watch a movie. And I thought that, oh wow, that's so awesome, Shalise. You guys you've done it again. Like, back then I was a real, like, kind of I was trying to really be like a matchmaker. I tried and failed with my parents. And then I really gave up because my dad was a hoe. So I was just like, yeah, never mind with that. Parent Trap, Disney, I blame you. And I also thank you. It's a very cute movie. Really, really good movie. So, but anyway, I tried to do something similar in adulthood with between them two, and it just didn't work out because she was just really daft, and she was just like, no, like, I'll come with you, and I was just like, look, I am trying to get you two together. You guys should go on a date, and of course they were just like, wait, what? I was just like, yeah, like this, like I can't hold it in. I can't hold it in. I was just like, y'all, like, let me be honest with you, let me keep it a buck. Because I intentionally left my money at home, which wasn't far, but I left it at home. Um, I thought it was really gonna work. She was just like, no. I was like, you know what? No. Because she was like, really wanted to come. I was just like, you know what? No. This is what's happening. I wanted you to guys go on a date. Surprise. And they were just like, wait, what? Are you serious? I'm just like, yes. Please enjoy. If you want me to pay you, like, I can pay you. And so I left. I literally left, and they didn't have a date. But still, like, but that's neither here nor there. My point is just that I this is just insane, because I was the kind of person who just went above and beyond. I played my role right. I played my role right. If you had a boyfriend issue or something like that, yo, I'm there. If you were bored in the house and stuff like that, I'm like, yo, let's come out, like, let's go eat something like that. Oh, hey, look, I got invited to someplace. You want to come? But at a point, my friend told me, like, oh, don't do that, because he didn't want her to come. And I was like, you know what, bet I can respect that. Okay, you only have to tell me that one time, partner. It was fine. But other than that, I was like, yo, like, you want to do this? You want to do that? Bet. So eventually, it didn't take long for me, in my adulthood, to move to this establishment, this house. I was really young, super young, like 21, when I finally moved in here, because this house was going to foreclosure. It was actually a property of my mother's, but she died a long time ago when I was like 16. When I was like 17, and it was like literally like less than a month after my 17th birthday, she died and left me and my two little brothers, to fend for ourselves. No, but yeah, to live with our grandmother, who I really adored, and I had to still take care of her, but she was kind of taking care of us. Well, she was still taking care of us too, and I was taking care of her because she was sick. Um, Anyway, my uncle had lived in this house with his wife and her children, and it just was like, it was not good. It was not good at all. So I ended up um like moving in here because he let it go up for foreclosure, and high rocket bills, my mom's name and stuff like that, and I had to like save this house. So I was just thinking, like, yo, let me save this house so that I can be a really great investment for my brothers. It's under a state contract right now, which is why people are trying to push me out of it. And by people, I mean my abusers. So they're trying to push me out of it because I paid literally 15 years of just, my taxes and whatnot like that. And so here we are. So people now feel like, okay, now's the time, because at this point in time, like in a couple years, I'll be able to, a couple years, and almost a couple years, like, I'll be able to sell it, like, without having the restriction on it. Talk about responsible and mature. I mean, at 21, you putting down like tens of thousands of dollars, and I mean plus repair and stuff like that. Because I literally had to like gut a lot of this shit. Like if you saw the old pictures. In fact, I think I have some, but if you saw like the all the old pictures, you'd be like, ew, like what? Holy, ugh, disgusting. Um, but yeah, that's the uncle I actually don't talk to anymore. The one who stole my identity and the one who was very happy to go along with further abusing me with my sister and my father's family. My father, who I had to cut off because he went along with the whole bullshit, bro. This is some wild shit. So okay. So here I am into adulthood. Oh yeah, hold on. So when I was in high school, I'm hearing like, she was being two-faced then too. And I'm like, God damn it. Like, yo, like how much of a hating ass bitch, unnecessary bitch do you need to be? Do you need to be? As I'm like looking back on things, like she hated me even then. And I'm like, yo, how can you smile in my fucking face and still do this shit? Like this is insanity. But eventually people just like kind of brushed over it because I was on stage with my little Aaliyah painting. I got the La Debutantes to New York City. We had tickets. People were at the time, Wilson Park was like really, really hot, and no one went to one of the shows at the time from Trenton High. So I was just like, oh well, I'll find a way. And so I wrote to people, and it was easy. Seemed like so I got us up there, all of us. It was like 10 girls and 2 chaperones. And I had my lead painting. I was like, yeah, I just because she had recently died, maybe like a year or two, and I was like, yo, like let me just show this. Like I was just thinking about just having this in the crowd and hoping that the camera would show me, and I'm just like, yeah. And they invited me on stage to talk about it, and I was just like, oh my god, so this is amazing, thank you so much, and I got to talk about it, I got to show it, and that was nice. And then after the show, one of the like trending songs at the time, it was like Little John and the East Side Boys. uh they were featuring their song at the show, and we happened to see them as we turned the corner. It was just me and the girls, and they had already gave us like their CDs, their albums, uh at the show. And then as we exit, because we actually took a while to leave, but when we exited, like they were coming out the back way, and we saw them, and they had signed our albums and like our CDs. And I remember Lil Jon saying that he loved me. I was like, oh my god, like oh my god, like that's amazing. That's oh yeah. And I know people are talking about, oh, like she's talking about the glory days, but I'm only saying this as a resume, basically, to validate these unfounded claims that have been put against me, because it's just wild, bro. Um, so yeah, so into yeah, and everybody in Trent High was like really geeked up about it. They were like, "Oh my god, this is amazing!" And supposedly, the voted most popular girl at this school, she asked me in front of the class. She's like, "Oh, like, do you want to be roommates in college?" Because I had got accepted to FIT, and everybody was just like shocked, and I was just like, "Yeah, sure." Like, I don't know. I was like, "Okay, whatever." Um, yeah. And also FIT is really nice, if anybody's considering. I think it's really beautiful. I didn't have the opportunity to really give it my all because my grandmother was sick, to the point where it got really, really worse. I was always taking care of her, but it got really, really bad to the point where she died shortly after because she had to get surgery for her foot, and it didn't it didn't go. So it oh wow, I can never get past that one. So yeah, I just didn't do well with I'm just a woman with responsibilities who just really had it. I am too old, even though you see me being young. It's oh god, what was I? So Yeah, that was, that was the thing in college. Uh, did that, and then after, I left school because I was doing really poorly with commuting to Jersey, really making shit money, and going to school full time, taking care of my grandmother, helping two kids from New York to New Jersey, hearing my nagging ass drug addict uncle. This is the part was just like really scared me about like hard drugs. Like, okay, it took me a while to accept, weed, marijuana, but I was like, I got passed over. I got like so past it because I was just like, what, this is herbal, this is medicinal. It would actually, be beneficial, especially to like, diabetics and stuff like that. Well, actually, no, I don't know about diabetics because it constricts the. That's a whole nother conversation. But maybe CBD. Anyway, uh my uncle was a heavy drug addict, and that scared the bejesus out of me. Like, I already don't like needles, but to find out that he lost all his money and stuff like that because of like drugs and stuff like that, it scared the shit out of me to the point where like it taught me a really valuable lesson, and I was just like, yeah, I don't, you won't see me do that. Like, I understand when people do it because I've seen the downward spiral that he went through. In fact, that was like he was the inspiration for a college paper that I did. But it was yeah, that was a scary moment. So yeah, him nagging in my ear, being a bitch, and all the responsibilities that I had as an 18, 19-year old was ridiculous. But fast forward to 20 to me being 20, 21 years old. I got this house. I fixed it up, and shortly after that, I met my first roommate. Um, and then immediately, I tell you, like within months, I meet his brother, who is my ex, who is Danielle's like husband, and we were dating for a while. But while we were dating, he all of a sudden started acting really funny. I was like, I had already introduced him to Danielle. Like, we had went to like a Halloween party. I'm not a Halloween party. We had a Halloween party. We had introduced him to her for her like her housewarming or her apartment. But it was, yeah, it was like a home, like a housewarming. So and I was just like, yo, because I was like really proud of her. Like, she, she's finally, as soon as she became a nurse, I was like, she's finally, coming into her own and all the other kind of things. And I was like, this is amazing. You feel me? It's awesome. Like, we're on our way up, girl. We're on our way up. Things of that nature. And yeah, during that time, she like I was having my relationship issues. She was having her relationship issues with the guy named Seaver. So I thought because she was always talking about him, this, that, her, and the third, and so I was always, trying to go up there to her to just, to comfort her, just, friend things, like, hey, let's go out, let's go eat, let's go shopping, those kind of things. I even got her like this little pet beta fish and bought her like, Valentine's Day gifts because I was just like, yo, like if nobody's gonna show you that you're special, then like let me show you that you're special. Do those kind of things. And what else? It was, I mean, it was basic. Again, I accepted the role of a best friend, and I played my part. What I didn't know, it literally took me this fucking year to find out that no, excuse me, not, it was like late December, early January to find out that she was having relationship with David. Since then, I literally had to go back in time to like review a whole bunch of stuff, whole bunch of clues, just to be like, oh fucking shit. Oh fucking shit. The the fact that in our first year of, us having a relationship, me and David, they had sex, they had a child. She wanted him to leave me for her child. Where's the honor? Like, yo, and me and him have been on and off in relationships for years, years. And she would be like, oh, girl, you don't talk to him. Yo. bitch. Disgusting. The fucking disgusting. Yo, I'm looking at fucking text messages and there's a post. There's a post, even on was it 2020, 2020, like last year, she was kind of referring to her being single. So I'm like, how am I supposed to know that you were married to this dude? And yet you're posting it on Facebook that you know that you're single or something like that. Like, you know, like she's like, oh, when I find the right guy or some shit like that. Like, how am I supposed to like, yo, this is disgusting. This is disgusting. Years unprovoked of you being just a really a jealous and evil, heartless bitch. That shit is wild, bro. That shit is so fucking wild. Okay, so like, okay, so you see this, but hold on. Let's just try to make this more evident. Okay, hold on. So Danielle, and then bam. It's just uh, let me make this easy because okay, I'm so old. I'm telling you. Okay, all right, hold on. Bam, because I want to be on the up and up. Like, okay, bam, info. Oh, I'm so old. Okay, so bam. Sometimes, yeah, that's her number. She might have changed it by now, but I don't really give a fuck. But yeah, it's just like, okay, that right there, and that right there, and done. So yeah, all this stuff. Disgusting, bro. Yeah, just like yo, like all these things like oh, wishing you a year filled with joy, peace, love, and fulfill and fruitfulness in 2021. That's last year. This is like yo, like you're just a disgusting human being. March 21st, my birthday. And I had did a group message. I was like, look, you know, thanks for the because leading up to this, she was a bitch. Like more of a bitch because during all this time, she's always had like that whole nitpicking kind of thing, and then that little jabbing kind of stuff, and it's poking fun. Like, don't get me wrong. I myself like to poke fun at people, like, you know, lovingly, because sometimes you don't know the difference between a joke and when something's real. But I was just like, okay, well, if you're gonna joke with me, then you know, let me meet you the same way. You feel me? Because like, oh, it's supposed to be a joke, right? And she didn't like that. She didn't really like that. So that's why, literally, you could tell you want to call me scary, but I had to literally Scooby Doo a whole bunch of bullshit in order to find out that you've been a duplicitous, two faced ass bitch who's been laying on your back trying to get your way to where you are at now, and now you're acting like you're better or like you have a say over my life and exactly over what I deserve. This is why like this is not even one of the reasons why I cut you off, but this is honestly the only reason why I would need to have cut you off. You've just been a shitty person. You've been a shitty person. You're not valuable to me. You're not valuable as a person, and I don't find you really like an important person to like, you know, respect on this earth. I really don't. I really fucking don't. And I don't know how anybody does, and I really don't fucking care. But it was just like, how are you trying to like involve me into ongoing bullshit when I cut you and David off? Like, that's some dumb shit. I literally had to post on my Twitter. I was just like, yo, is this your nigga? Because he came to my place. And I'm like, I literally thought I had cut you guys both off. Well, no, I did cut you guys both off, but you, especially Danielle, cannot handle rejection for shit. And you always have to do things behind people's back. You can talk all that fucking good game that you think that you can talk because you know you have the time to write down your little notes, try to like think of something cute to say, but it's always saying it behind my fucking back in your group chats or whatever little social media handle that you can, but it's never to my fucking face. It's never to my fucking it's never on his fucking phone. It's never contacted me or any of that shit. And now you don't even have the opportunity to, because now after all the shit that I know that you've done to me, it's not in your it's not in your best interest. You literally It's not in your best interest. It's not like honestly, you've done enough shit in order to try to harm my life. Literally, you've done multiple shit where I wanted you to stop contacting me, stop just stop trying to interfere in my life. Like really. Like how are you somebody who's so fucking flawed? And we're all flawed, but how are you so tragically flawed that you think that you can have a place to say or put any input or comment on my fucking life? On my fucking life. And on top of that, you have to use other fucking strangers in order to emotionally manipulate or coerce people into doing things for you. Bitch, please. Bitch, please. Even for simple shit. Can you imagine being on your period, but unfortunately your man wants sex with you, so you're just like, oh, hey, look, can you do something to make him feel guilty because I still want sex with him? Instead of just telling him no. And how do I know this? I deduced it because of your flying monkeys. You have to give your man a head, but you can't you can't you don't want to fuck. Like I could relate to that, but I'm just saying though, like how are you such a mature person, but you can't even speak up for exactly what you want? You're a grown ass fucking woman. How? How are you trying to like manage all these businesses? But I'm pretty sure it's a lot of businesses off my fucking ideas, the fucking shit that I wrote down, things that I wanted to invest in. But you were over here trying to sabotage literally a lot of all my ventures and all my connections. But I'm supposed to be listening to you. Why? Because you're two-faced? Why? Because you did things behind the back? Why? Because you decided to connect with other people who were very emotionally insecure and stunted, and you contacted the right people because the right people obviously who have powerful positions right now are very insecure, very bereft of real fucking talent and confidence and whatever kind of bullshit, because honestly they couldn't get a goddamn thing without me apparently. Like attracted like attracted like. This is why I'll never respect you. Never. Never. Not even on your best fucking day. Never ever. So perfectly imperfect. I mean, look, this is the thing that's really fucking pathetic. How did the black community decide to oppress somebody, a black person, try to profit off of them, and then have the audacity to be like to other people who are non-black in order to emotionally manipulate them, but all they gotta do is like look behind you and see you doing the same thing. I think her name is Piper Lewis. Piper Lewis is a woman who was human trafficked, and she killed one of the people who were trying to have sex with her. The state of Iowa made her pay a restitution fine, a law which should definitely be abolished. And the district attorney should definitely get punched in the face. Yes, I'm saying it. You should get punched in the face for doing that to her. But the whole world, everybody else was just like, yeah, no, she's a hero. She saved herself. Like, morally, she saved herself. She did what she had to do. So by that means, if somebody or some group is threatening my life or your life, you would take it upon yourself to act accordingly. Now, what if it's the government? What if it's, corrupt people in the government? What if it's those corrupt officials? Who do you turn to when the people who are supposed to be the point of contact are corrupt? When society and humanity doesn't seem to really show face and is silent because they're using you too. Excuse me. And once you use somebody and you actually see them being abused and you participate in it with your silence, you too become an abuser because you're getting off of it. You're getting off on the fact that you like to continue watching me. You're an abuser. You are a patron of my abusers, so you are affiliated with it. Why aren't you stepping up? Why aren't you calling this person out? And all this and other kind of stuff. I mean, that really definitely brings a moment of accountability to it. That, and telling me exactly, where I can find the cameras, where I can find um, specifically like what's going on, you know. Leading up to 2021, Danielle was getting more fucking cocky because there were more people, I guess, kissing her ass. And she was getting really into, I guess, her and her relationship with David was bonding more. Which, by the way, if a baby didn't make him leave, it literally took the part. It really took the point of me being in a relationship, because I was just feeling a weird ass energy between me and him. So I was like, what? I'm gonna give other relationships a try. And with the way how my loyalty is, it's like I'm not going to fuck. How the fuck do you think that was gonna work? If you were trying to approach me, but I'm already in a relationship, and you think that you can try to snatch me, don't you think I'm gonna try to do the same thing to somebody else? I mean, I'm just same thing to you. Like, that's so stupid. So I'm like, no, this seems like a test. I can't do that. So no, I'm going to be with this person. Like, yo, we're gonna, like, me and this person. Like, if we're in a dating stage, I can understand that. Like, yo, we're in a dating stage or something like that. If we're in a dating stage, we're just me and the person just talking and stuff like that. Okay, but if I'm getting the title, then no, I can't do that. Like, we can't do that. So yeah, yeah, yeah. Uh, oh God. But 2017, that's when he finally had wrote a letter. It was just like, fine, I like something to that extent where like, yo, he's basically kissing her ass. Like, yo, yeah, all those times I left you crying and shit like that. A letter, a public letter, it was like, yo, all those times I left you crying, to Danielle. It was like, it was very hinting all these things. But I was just like, okay, hey. And then the same year he had came back to just try to give it one more go, and I was just like, because me and the guy at the time, I think we were on, yeah, like we were on a break. I was like, all right, fine, whatever, and like not even on break, we're just like, okay, like whatever, bye. And yeah, this is hilarious, yo, bro. This is just so fucking funny because. No, excuse me. This situation is not funny, but it was like the audacity and to think that I'm going to continue allowing you to try to save face over this bullshit. You have done nothing. You've done more harm than you've done good. You've done more harm than you've done good. All this stuff with my humanitarianism and all the other kind of stuff that I've been doing with helping people, I was literally going to do this shit regardless. And even like on top of that shit, like, bro, I wanted to make a difference, but you've just been like hindering me and trying to do like this unnecessary competition. I'm like, for what? For what? For what? I'm not getting paid anything except for abuse, extreme abuse, unprovoked. That's what I'm saying. And it's not just unprovoked. It's unprovoked. Plus the fact that it's just like, yo, you had somebody who was actually in your corner and wasn't trying to sabotage you or belittle you, who always trying to make you feel like, really good about yourself. Genuinely, authentically. And somebody who's also not trying to like take, your spot. You feel me? So for you to have done all that shit is unfounded. It was like there's no reason for it. It's no fucking reason for it. So this is why when people actually have the audacity to say that this person is my friend, I'm like, no, the fuck, she's not. Get that term out of your fucking mouth because she's not a friend. She obviously was never a friend of me. She was never a friend of me. Never a friend to me. Therefore, she's not somebody who should be missed. She's not somebody who should be contacted. She's not somebody who we ever need to like have a conversation about. Oh, what about? Obviously, if you ever need to bring that person up again, like it has to be either like a court situation, like me taking her to court, or that's it. Like or you have to talk about this being a historic moment where I'm just like, yo, this finally got rid of this loser. Like I'm serious. Like, yo, it doesn't matter about the money that you have. It doesn't matter about whatever little fake ass achievements and jobs and stuff like that. It's about on who you were as a person. Because historically, if you want to talk about it like that, then our own fucking ancestors can look at the people who oppressed us and say the same fucking thing. You feel me? Like the things that that they had, the lands that they had owned of their owners. It's just really wild. When I was referring to Piper Lewis, like no one was worrying about, oh well, what kind of girl was she? Was she a fast girl? Did she have great grades and stuff like that? Did she skip school? Did she curse? Did she, I don't know, wear revealing clothing? No, none of that. They were just like, good for her. She's a fucking hero. She's a fucking hero. But when it's me, because I know that this is a tactic in order to try to hurt me in some type of way, they were like, because it's me. They were like, oh, she's just, she's never always been nice. I'm like, are you kidding me? My social resume has literally kiboshed that, kiboshed completely that. You don't want to get in trouble for the fact that you repress your own kind, and uh it's not an unusual thing in our history where your own people have sold you out. This shit's wild. So they're like, oh no, she was a horrible person. Da 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 da. I literally have text messages, and you guys are wishing me happy birthday. And the times when I've cut you off, the times when I've cut you the fuck off. Okay, you guys were literally like, you guys have crossed me to the point where I don't want anything to do with you. And so because you won't let me go, I made you let go. I made you let go. I told you about your fucking self. Well, for her, I just left her. I told her about herself. She thought I was just playing and ghosted the bitch. It's like, okay, you obviously don't want to be transparent. You don't, because I'm like, yo, like, it seems like something's off. Do we have a problem? Like, is something wrong? You seem like, you keep doing all this, like the increase of your disrespect is more apparent and visible and loud. I'm like, is there a problem? It's like, oh no, I can't stand that shit. I'm like, you know what, just for my own mental health and for my own well-being, like I need to be away from that shit. Like, yo, just I'm leaving you in the past. I really am. I'm leaving you in the past. Because I'm like, yo, I don't like it. So I don't like it, so I want you to change it. Or we can just go our different ways. You didn't want to respect that. So, and there's literally before I knew exactly how fucking psychotic and disgusting you are as a person, there was a list of reasons that made me come to that conclusion to cut you off before knowing that shit. So just add that, and it's like, boom, boom. And no, I won't divulge exactly what it is about you that I totally dislike about you, because that's for you. That's for you. That's for other people to discover. That's for other people to discover. But I know that I made the sound choice in letting you go. And I'm glad that before knowing exactly how evil you are, um, that I was right. That I trust my intuition and my gut, and it didn't lead me astray. And I was right. And I was right every single other time when I cut everybody else off out of my life. I was right. I was right. And I don't have the opportunity to really um add friends or have the opportunity to make that bond with other people that I would like to, because it would just be be starting over a cycle. Um without people coming forward about the whole gang stalking, it would just be coming like another like a cycle. So I mean, I can talk to people, you feel me, and I can be polite, but I will never trust anybody or have that deep connection that I thought that I had with other people and relatives, because I'm just like, okay, well look, everybody literally here is very suspect. And now accounts, because they were active participants in fucking with me. Um, they're trying to save face. They're trying to, not only are they trying to save face, but they're trying to also be like, oh, she's crazy. She doesn't know what she's talking about. Da 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 da. But you were doing a lot of triangulating information, and you obviously saw me in the privacy of my home. and you have your celebrities and this, that, and the third. And I'm like, it's wild that there are so many citizens and whatnot like that watching that you want to try to distort my reality. That's gaslighting. That is literally gaslighting. You're trying to make me believe that something didn't happen when it actually did. And the sad thing is just that they're witnesses. So you look stupid doing it. You look really stupid doing it. It's just crazy because I lived a long time for other people, and and the moment when I wanted to live for myself, people are still trying to try to block that by like almost any means like necessary, probably any means necessary, which is just it's totally unfounded. But yeah, I'm like, yo, you have other things to worry about with your responsibilities, your children, and this, that, and the third. You don't need. It's not even that you don't need, but it's not a good look for you to be a conniving, stupid bitch. Like you really don't. So any of y'all, and it's just I'm burping on the truth. Sorry. No, it's not only that, but it's just like, here's the thing: for you to be a flying monkey, there has to be something about you where I guess you suck up to the person, or you'll try to be like, oh, that won't happen to me. I'll just be like a great friend. I was a great friend. I supported these people. I was doing, the YouTube and stuff like that, and I was trying to like put them on, have them be in contact. Oh, and right before in that first year of me and David's relationship, I think I put this on my website. My brother asked on our Facebook, is David going to be, a brother? And I was like, oh, because I didn't know. I was like, and David had answered for us, and he was just like, soon. And dang, I don't like that. How did I know that I was befriending somebody who's been secretly competing with me for years? That's when she slept with him, intentionally to get pregnant. She is older than me, and she slept with somebody who's younger than us. Preyed upon him and trapped him. Like, you a victim. Because that was never my intention. My dad had so many babies. I was a womanizer. Think of me of what you will, but condoms and Plan B was my friend. I didn't want to get trapped. I was my mom had many babies, and I had to help raise them. I was like, "What baby? Baby." I literally had to adopt a cat, Lila, to soothe those little baby fever. I was like, "Oh, you want a cat?" It worked out for the both of us because we also saw a couple of mices. Oh, you want a cat? Good. It was really fucked up. It's all fucked up. But David's father is a detective. He was like a county fire detective at first with his lawyer fiance, and then happened to just draw all this bullshit lies and use his little soft voice, and loving Jesus and all the other kind of shit. And I'm thinking, oh, this is a good man, I too go to church. I too love Jesus. But No, this man is corrupt. In fact, it was him, David, Marcus, and Danielle were the ones that really initiated all this bullshit. I figure Danielle. All right, so it was David and me dating. David and me dating. I'm a visual girl. I'm a visual world. Pardon me. Okay. So, yeah. Okay. Let's go. A dusty little rock. This is Danielle. So anyway, this Danielle decided to get on her back and sleep with David because she was very competitive, secretly competitive with me. Me and David are take a pic. Me and David are in a relationship. You know, we got Ebony and Ivory. We're in a relationship. I'm thinking everything's good. You seem to be good. La la la, la 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 la. My brother asks, "Oh, like when you're gonna marry? Like I don't know, like so and so gonna be my fifth brother?" And so he was like, "Oh yeah, soon." Me and him are still going good, and she left him. This is all the shit I'm finding out. Like it was like years later, literally like I said, late last year, early this year. They slept together, had a child, and she's like, "Oh, I'm pregnant. I don't know what to do. Like you should leave Shalise and help me raise the baby." Yo, and he's like, no. So Marlon takes the baby with his wife. Marlon takes the baby with his wife, and they raise her. So they raise a baby. So me and David are still in a relationship. I don't even know this whole shit's going on, but me and him are in a relationship, and all of a sudden, like it's getting like we're fighting, and it's getting like rocky, da 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 da. And she's just right there. It's so weird, y'all. She's right there, and she's like, and there was a moment like the following year, because it was like late December 2009, and then early like March or something 2010. She's like, "Hey, girl, I'm worried. Like, what's going on? I haven't heard from you in a while." Ugh, disgusting bitch. And then he was just doing some reckless stuff. So that's when he just started treating more because of like a guilty conscience. So he just started like going haywire. Him and his dudes who try to talk to me, his friends who try to talk to me, and I have to shut them down each and every time, and including family members who I told. I'm like, "Yo, nigga." And in hindsight, I don't even know if he knows. This is like, isn't that very embarrassing that they wanted you to cheat just so you can cheat on me? You and I, like, according to everybody else, like, yo, it was good. I can't unsee the things that I see that I know now. So I just, I'm very grossed out by all the things that I've done. Um, um, I, I just, okay, all the things that I've done with her. Uh, this sick little games that you guys have done, and the little unnecessary bullshit that you have done to me. I can't unsee it. I can't forgive it. I won't forgive it. I don't have to forgive it. So I will never forgive it. Um, and not only that, but the things that you've also done to Danielle, my sister, and my cousin. Like you fucked all three of these bitches who still have a vendetta against me. unprovoked for no reason at all. And it's just like I've made it apparent. I've made it vividly clear on multiple occasions. And obviously me and a coworker. And I'm like, yo, you like I've made it perfectly clear that if somebody wants my like wants somebody that I'm dating with, I'm like, well, clearly, if that person goes with you, then that's not my person. Then it's like, then just go ahead. Like I'm the kind of person who's gonna step back and be like, go ahead, because that's not my person anymore. Obviously, if they can go to you that easy, then that's obviously not my person. That's not my person. Oh, but he didn't think that because now that is some bullshit. Because I'm like, yo, hold up. How are you? First off, like, how are you even trying to like make amends? Like, that should be people's first worry about. Instead of you trying to make it seem like I should forgive you, you should be worrying about reparations, restitutions, and all that other kind of shit. And every single time when somebody tried to like say on my behalf that I forgave them, I was just like, no, that's just that person is basically that person is an abuser, and that person was also participating in the abuse. Whenever somebody does that, that person was literally behind the scenes. That person was working with them or supporting them or enjoying what was going on, benefiting off of it. Because ain't no way somebody's gonna like speak on your behalf of your pain and your experience about how and tell you how you should fucking feel. Ain't no fucking way. Ain't no fucking way. So yeah. In 2010, around the time I had started my YouTube channel, and I was doing really, really well with that. And people, were liking it, were liking the content. But it wasn't until 2012 that 2011, 2012 that content was starting to be picked up. Hollywood content was starting to be picked up and made on my fucking behalf. I mean, not made on my behalf, but like made in regards to me and David situation. So Marlon was racking up the money. He went from small house, and then he went from small house in a good neighborhood to big major house on a hill, fucking huge, over $500,000, in a beach house. A tiny little job. He easily social climbed to an investigator, a county investigator, so that way he can still have government connections within the state of New Jersey. And also, shoot, what else? And so his wife is also still a lawyer. Now he has a what is it called? A charity. He has a charity, and it's like, oh, where you can go ahead and donate. Now that stuff can literally rack up. It can rack up a bunch of money, millions. You've seen Red Cross, and you've seen the like the bad comments that certain charity organizations what they say about a lot of charity organizations, because a lot of it's pocketed. It hardly goes to people in need. So that's where we're at, because now people are still getting money off me being exploited and stuff like that. There's content, there's books, there's movies, there's Netflix, and all that other kind of shit. People. I'm wise to the game now, and people are just literally doubling down or just saying like, oh, like we can still do this. I'm like, when this was going on, Obama was president, a lot of Black people, including the Trenton, city of Trenton, New Jersey, benefited off my exploits and as they continue to benefit off of my efforts. And you might think, okay, well, how are you? You're just a person. How did you get to know these people? Again, like I said, I was doing really well with the whole YouTube thing, and I was going to like events and stuff like that, and I was just meeting different people. But I think on the background, what happened was just that David and Marlon, they found a little meal ticket, and a Black man who excuse me, who is very suburban, but has, the thuggish background. He's the face. You know, he's the guy in the with the government connections and stuff like that, who has to have an unblemished record, while his family has the blemished record. He's the face with the white wife and the intimidation. And it's so crazy because I went to him thinking that I could trust him, because I was just like, yo, I'm noticing around like 2008 or something like that. No, 2008, 2008 or something. Not 2008, excuse me, 2018. But anyway, I was noticing that I was getting hacked, because I'm like, yo, like this seems weird. Like I'm just noticing a lot of weird activity, like social, whatnot. And so I contacted him. I'm like, yo, I need your help because I think that I'm hacked. What can I do? This, different, and the third. And he gave me the runaround. He gave me the runaround and he told me not to contact David. And I was just like, that seems really suspicious. And so I went ahead and I contacted him. And David kind of gave it away that he knew what was going on. Well, I knew that he probably had an inkling of like what was going on, but it gave more of a hint that he definitely knew what was going on, but that he was involved, but he just didn't want to help me for whatever reason, whatever superficial reason. Because I did right by everybody. I did right by everybody. This is what's so fucking maddening. Because like, yeah, that's insane. It's insane. Well, that's what I wanted to come up on here, because now people that they can't use, like people are trying to either use the oppressive situation, the oppression card, which kind of negates any of the things that white people do to us, because it seems really crazy and out of pocket that you have black people trying to oppress and have gone, have been on the come up, and white people too, non-blacks, Indians, Asians, literally. I've seen a lot of content, media content off of my back. So it started out, as a prank, and then people were like, oh shit, like we can make money off of this. And it just reminds me of this one picture of this of Africans having a slave in front of, European settlers, and they're like, yeah, it's just wow. Um, and that's just how it is. Like, yo, um, yeah. So that's where we are. It seems like it's supposed to be everybody's out for themselves or for whoever they care about. And they didn't care enough about me, even though I was the one that was doing a lot for them, but apparently I didn't do enough. And in the background, it started around in 2009, 2009, 2008. Like they started to, no, 2009, that that's when my financial abuse and stuff like that started. All that shit was happening slowly but surely in order to make things. She was like, okay, fine then. Like, yo, if you're not going to leave, it was like, yo, she's basically like, yo, if you're not going to leave Shalice, then I'm going to try to make it happen another way. So she goes to my family. This is just going to put my family. So she goes to, this is a done. Blowtorch. She goes to my family, connects with them, does a woe is me situation, and tries to break down my character with lies and slander and all the other kind of shit. So I'm just like, yo, and acts concerned. Like, oh, I'm just really concerned about Shalice and that. What lies and shit. So this is just crazy. Oh, she'd be like, but don't tell Shalice. Mental. Fucking mental. So this shit goes on. Then while she's all smiling in my face and this, that, here, and the third, doing these little posts. Oh, the times of just remembering like how much of a friend Shalice is. That kind of bullshit. She's also still fucking David and like still flirting with him and stuff like that. I'm like, oh, but it's for our the child needs a mother, and then I mean a father and stuff like that, and and all the other kind of jazz. But they didn't tell me. They didn't tell me. So while she's doing that in the background, she connects with my sister. She connects with my dad. And my sister connects with my dad. So all the while, there's voyeurism going on because she convinces David to put cameras in my house, the house I've been paying the bills on. I've been supporting this nigga. He's never paid for a fucking thing at all. It was my fucking house. It's my home. Like I am on the fucking deed. Like I am on the fucking the mortgage and stuff like that. Me. And I've been the one that's been paying the fucking bills. Only me. She's over here, whispering in David's ear, because she has, the money, that she's gotten from, nursing, and unfortunately, I'm making less, so she's just like, why don't you stop, paying, being with her when if you are with me, I can set you up for, a good life. So she, like woos David to put cameras into my place. She then also yeah, that's the thing that that they do and that they work out together, which is totally fucking gross. Then she talks to the family. Well, my sister starts fucking David too, and that's just again all this shit that finally putting into fucking logic is just gross. So she starts fucking David too. She fucks him. Danielle fuck Danielle fucks him, and they're okay doing that because it's not really about not really about them loving him. Although they might have the feelings and stuff like that because it's like a friendship or whatever like that. It's a bond, but it's not really about loving him. It's about getting at me, and that's fucking insane and sick. You want to get at me because you compete with me. You hold me to some type of standard that you feel that you need to knock me down every single fucking day. You supposedly have the money and shit like that. Why am I still like why, if I'm supposed to be so lowly and stuff like that, why are you setting me still as your standard, as your goal? Well, I must be the best if I can beat her at this. You're supposed to be better than me. Why are you setting me as the fucking standard? You feel me? It's normally the saying, yo, Beyonce has 24 hours in a day. You feel me? So why are you trying to hold me into that standard? You feel me? Like why are you trying to compare me to something like that? You feel me? Like you can't even like try to lie it off, joke it off, or any of that other kind of shit. It's already been shown. You've copied off of everything I do. You want to block and sabotage everything I have, and you try to go for like nitpicking things. Well, like my job, who you've convinced, who you've attracted employees who have very low self-esteem and set income, um, and you've enticed them with money, bribery, and opportunity and social climbing and all that other kind of jazz incentives. Because Princeton University's building has been growing up and looks nice, and of course they don't want to look racist. So of course they start including more and more and more African Americans. And while you over here nitpicking me, while I have to like talk to like Bernadette Peters and all her other little bullshit little triangulating messages and that this that here in the third kind of bullshit. I'm over here, like, how are you to open up your fucking mouth, your fucking wrinkled small ass lips? How dare you fucking comment on anything I fucking say or anything I fucking do when you guys have been first? Well, I was giving you guys over 100%. I've worked 2 jobs, literally. I have 2 roles right now at Princeton University, but I was basically working like 3. I was basically working 3. When I started there, I started and I was like merging into from a temp to a permanent position. I was working as an like as liaison to 2 very high profile people there, and also working with like one of their programs. So then you took your sweet ass time, months, to the point where it was very, very physically exhausting, months, and overtime and all that other kind of shit. Um, Doing that role, and also the role of the new position that I have. That should be fucking illegal, right? That was really fucking wild, and I didn't get compensated for that. I got paid for it, but I got paid the salary that I got for just that one role. I was basically working 2 fucking positions. And it's so fucking funny because that same position that I worked in previously is now being operated by 2 people. So you had me do a 3-person job. Not only that, but during that time, and probably still to today, because for years you've been taking money out of my fucking paycheck for your own needs. You've been stealing money from my fucking paycheck. So extremely overworked. Um, extremely overworked. Stealing money from me. Also participating in gang stalking and voyeurism. So you've been exacerbating my mental health, this is mental abuse, emotional abuse, physical abuse, financial abuse, because you also try to like, and physical abuse by saying things like, oh, like, oh yeah, go ahead and do this, go do this, that, here, and a third to her. And I'm talking about the people at my building. Okay, I'm like, this is how Princeton University was, and apparently this is how Princeton University as a whole is, because the increase in Black people, you know, increases like that within a couple of years, like that. That was the incentive, because Black people were so keen on, taking advantage and exploiting me. They were just like, oh yeah, like, like, let's hop on this. The mental capacity, the mental capacity that you were okay with, exploiting me. The history, I hope the history books do not delete the part where you were like, you guys are like going up and down about, oh, the history books, it needs to be accurate and stuff like that. Yeah, tell the whole fucking truth. Tell the whole fucking truth. Oh yeah, no, I definitely want the truth about, what the European white settlers did to us, because honestly, the things that I found out from reading certain type of books, or just, and just hearing certain type of interviews, I'm just like, oh my god, like, that's wild. Please, we need to know that. But also put down the Black people who sold us to the European settlers and who are still oppressing us to this day. Tell me about the Black people now. Like, I didn't have a record. I don't have a record, not to my knowledge, unless they've done something. Like, yo, so I have parking tickets out the ass. I got parking tickets out the ass. But it's just like, yo, tell it all. And then you want to be like, oh, well, she wasn't always nice. Now you got to try to nitpick, bitch. I'm not a nice person when it comes to people who are abusing me. That's just fucking common sense. When it comes to people that are using me, exploiting me, and abusing me, not giving me a goddamn thing, but just trying to just strife and a headache, and being a fucking minus to the own fucking nation, community, race, humanity. You damn fucking right. Oh, she curses, so she's bad. This is why we had to do it. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Again, let me go back to like the Piper, was it Piper Lewis, and to what is it, R. Kelly's, to the people who called out R. Kelly for sexually abusing him. You guys have literally harassed me across the board, and the abusers have violated my boundaries sexually, physically, and everything. So for you to act so fucking, for you to be like a cherry picking ass nigga to try to save your ass, you look real fucking stupid. You really sound fucking stupid. And the thing is that it's not just to me, but I'm literally calling you out in front of the whole fucking world, whoever will watch and whoever will listen. It's literally who you fucking are. Calling you the entire fucking out. So yeah, this is where we are. And I will have more to say later. But yeah, the last messages and stuff like that, where I still have you guys just trying to like butter me up and whatnot like that. It's just, I I did good by you. I did good by all of you. Country, everything, and y'all really showed y'all fucking asses as coons. And it was just like, yo, like, how are you during Black History Month? It's just Black History Month and Juneteenth just seems like really a fucking joke. Like, it's just like, yo, how are you coming up with the whole, inequality and inequity and all the other kind of shit when you were still being a minus. It's not like, you just hate me to hate me. You've and this is like basic cyberbullying. No, you've implemented oppressive human trafficking behaviors, traits, and experiences for me, for your own exploits. That is literally slavery. And obviously, that stuff needs to be addressed judicially in a court of law, and a fair court of law, a right court of law, where an honorable judge is going to be there, because obviously the ones who've been at Trenton, New Jersey, and who've been in Jersey, period, and on this, that, here, and the third, are extremely corrupt. So when I say that I'm acting accordingly, I'm acting accordingly. It's really weird when my fellow coworkers realized I'm not a racist. It was so funny, yo. They really were like, I'm not a, and it went into a whole fucking spiel, but then had the audacity to try to, go into their fucking group chats, knowing exactly the shit that I've been through, and trying to support that shit just so you can be, I don't know, just so you can go in there for like likes and clout, just so you can have like internet friends, bitch, or have somebody to go to brunch with. Fucking sick. Fucking sick. Restitution, reparations, and honestly, this shit to be addressed. A fucking sad.